The NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new users a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, sports betting research analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit holbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has last-minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. Use promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. And in honor of Veterans Day, we are giving away everything in the merch store for 10% off with the promo code VETS, VETS. All proceeds from this sale will be donated to Mission 22, a nonprofit serving those who have served. Yay, sir. We are back with another edition of the NFL Gambling Podcast on Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Know me, know the voice, some guys. Me, really real, villain real, Terrell from Virginia here at your service. Yeah, I'm good. But we get him again on first touchdown with I think it was 35 to 1 payout, something like that. We got him again. You know, it's not too
I think it was 25, but either way.
Either way, it was a nice win. It was a nice win. Shout out to the defense and special teams on Thursday Night Football in that ugly Carolina Panthers and Chicago Bears game. Scott Studio Rush Show. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, overall, can't complain. It was a good game for us. The game was pretty bad, but we made money on it. I had Bryce Young over rushing yards. I had the field goal props, which ended up splitting, but I went 2-1 on the props. First touchdown score, I joined you with the Panthers special teams and defense. Unfortunately, I also lost a really tough beat on a massive parlay. I had a 91-1 3-pick parlay. First half under. Full game alt total under 29.5. And I had Carolina defense, because one book doesn't offer defense and special teams, at to score a touchdown. Special teams scored, so it didn't count. And the game landed 29. So I lost because of that. And that would have paid me like $900. So not fun. The only reason why I took it is because one book does a sweat-free promo for the Thursday night games, but unfortunately they don't include defense. They don't include special teams with their defense, and as a result, they lost the parlay. So 91-1 shot, right down the drain. So not a fun time, but still a nice game for us nonetheless.
Yikes. Using the wrong books around here, man.
Well, then again, I can't complain because I only bet it on there because it was a risk-free promo. So I wouldn't have placed it on another book. That's kind of the point. That's how they get you. That's what I'm trying to say.
No. Sound like they got you. Sound like you used somebody else I know. You might have had a winning bet there. That's what it sounds like to me. But here we are. We're gonna get through this.
Better game on paper?
Yeah. On paper, this should be a very solid game because Cincinnati Bengals on the road going to play the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Baltimore opened up as a 2-point favorite. 3.5s hanging around there. There's some 4s out there, but we're handicapping at 3.5. 46 is the total here. Cincinnati coming off the loss to the Texans. Baltimore coming off of a loss to the Browns. Cincinnati possibly was looking ahead to Baltimore here on Thursday night. And when they dropped that game to the Texans here, and it just seems like that was one of the games that the Ravens just give up over the course of the season. It's a lot of implications on the line because Cincinnati's actually making a push here. What do you like here, laying 3.5 with Baltimore?
I like Baltimore. Cincinnati's got a ton of injuries. I know Humphrey's a bit injured for Baltimore too, so I want to mention that, but the Bengals are decimated at a bunch of different positions. Defensively on the line, they got some issues. Hubbard didn't play last week. He's questionable. Hendrickson didn't practice this week. He's questionable. He got injured in the Houston game. So they might be missing 2 solid defensive linemen for this game for Cincinnati, and you kind of need all defensive linemen on deck when you're against one of the better running teams in the league. You're also looking at the offense. T. Higgins might not play. We'll see what happens with him, but I don't exactly feel great about his status at the moment. So I think Baltimore, once again, I've mentioned this in the past, but I'll say it again. It's why I don't view Baltimore with Lamar and with Harbaugh as serious Super Bowl contenders every year. It's because they find ways to blow massive leads in the fourth quarter all the time. Happens 3 to 4 times a year with the two of them. And I know, yes, the defense fell apart. Watson had no incompletions in the second half. But we saw Lamar have a brutal pick six there, which helped Cleveland make the comeback. The point is, I don't trust Baltimore in the playoff grand scheme of things, but I think that's a good spot for them here. They're at home. It's a division game. They should bounce back for it. And you're looking at Cincinnati once again being decimated with the receiving core. The defensive line's banged up, and they also can't pass protect because Burrow got sacked 3 times by, who is it, Sheldon Rankins? Defensive tackle sacked him 3 times last week. So I got a lot of problems with Cincinnati. They're in the last place of the division. It's kind of make or break time, but I do think Baltimore, with the health advantage and with the home field advantage, is in a good spot here. I'll take the Ravens minus 3.5. I think it's not going to be easy. I think it'll be one possession, but give me Baltimore by 7.
Yeah, so you got Trey Hendrickson, T. Higgins, Sam Hubbard, who all did not practice early this week. It's not looking good for them to start on a short week. All right. So I think that here I'm probably how do we not take the Ravens in this spot?
With the injuries, I have to take Baltimore.
Yeah, it's. Are we certain the Bengals have a good defense?
No. In fact, you make an argument that a lot of their metrics are flawed because they're decent at points allowed per game. But in terms of rushing yards per game, they're allowing the 3rd most in the league. And they're against Baltimore. Even pass defense-wise, they got killed by Stroud.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think their defense is actually that good. It's kind of a bend but don't break defense. And they rely heavily on turnovers forced. That's really it. They're not a great unit.
Yeah, I think that it's clear on one side of the ball, defense side of the ball, we're giving that to the Ravens. On the offense side of the ball, I think that maybe, I mean, some days Joe Burrow's offense look really good, and other times they look like a deer in headlights, to be honest. And it's crazy because they have all those weapons, but they still haven't addressed the offensive line. I think that's going to be an issue here, where you're going to get this defensive front of the Baltimore Ravens that's going to get penetration. They're going to get tapped to the quarterback. I don't know how I'm not on the Ravens at this spot. This just seems like clear cut. Take Ravens minus 3.5.
Once again, the Ravens had a slip up in a game that they were dominating, which we have seen several times already this year. It's par for the course with Harbaugh and Lamar, but they're still a solid AFC team. Defensively, they had an issue last week against Deshaun. Still a solid unit in general. They're definitely one of the better defenses in the league. What is Cincinnati better at? Are they better at anything? I mean, of course, the receiving core when healthy is better, but with Higgins being out, they're using Irwin and Boyd, and they're using Chase. You can argue the receivers are better for Cincinnati. Is that it? Quarterback, maybe, but even that's close. I don't know. Is Cincinnati better in a lot of areas? No.
No, not really. I mean, I would hesitate to say the receiving core is even better. I mean, yeah, you think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but that's not the offense Baltimore runs. The offense that they run, yeah, the offense that they run, they just need that PPR guy in Andrews, that deep play threat in Flowers, and they don't need anything else. That's why you can never get another fantasy relevant wide receiver out of this group. Yeah, it's pretty clear cut. We take the Ravens here. 46. I mean, I'm not pivoting off of primetime unders, but you have been more. So you're on under. Okay.
I'm on the under. Yeah. I don't think Cincinnati can block. It's really as simple as that. I just think that unless you're looking at a couple of deep plays to chase, Baltimore's front is still very solid. And with Higgins being out, no offense to Irwin and Boyd and the other guys they have there, Boyd was pretty good last week. Mostly one catch. He had a massive gain, but then he dropped the touchdown at the end. But I just think that the Ravens defense will settle in at home. I think they'll look sharper. And I think they're going to be motivated to get back on track after choking that game away last week. Cincinnati, though, even with their offense, when they do generate points, occasionally they get a big broken coverage play to chase. Besides that, it's a lot of really long check down passes that lead to long drives, and it's just going to take a lot of time off the clock. Baltimore wants to run. They should have success. They're going to drain a lot of clock, too. I like the under. I see a pretty standard and simple ball control offense approach for Baltimore. Give me a 24-17 type game.
All right. Let's see here. Before we get to the rest of the slate, got to talk to you about our vet merch in honor of Veterans Day. Merch store is 10% off everything. Use promo code VETS, VETS. All proceeds from the sale will be donated to Mission 22, nonprofit serving those who have served. So support the great cause. Support me, veteran here. Support me, support the cause. And stores.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. That's our merch store. Make sure you get a Reference Terrorist t-shirt. Really, really recommend. Store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Promo code VETS. We're also brought to you by Bet365, the world's favorite, all of that,
above.
all of the above. Over $88 million, the best sports book, the favorite sports book, all of that. They have props, sides, totals, live betting, same game parlays, everything you need. They even give you a profit boost on your NFL same game parlay. So make sure you get in on that. And guess what? If your team, say you pick a team and they go up big early, 17 points. They go out 17 points early, and they have an early payout offer where you win your money line bet if they go up 17 points. You don't have to worry about the rest of the game.
Just
the rest of the game doesn't matter.
It's a full payout, by the way.
Yes, absolutely. Full payout. You know what is crazy? That NBA, I'm going to tap into the NBA a little bit. But did you see that Raptors and
Wizards
what was it?
scored like 1 point in the final 7.5 minutes.
And they won the game. The Wizards blew the lead. It was like a 23-point lead in the third quarter. Man, they even got an NBA early payout offer. You would have cashed your Wizards money line bet. Wouldn't even had to wait till the rest of the game when the Wizards blow it. Make sure you tap into Bet365. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Bet365, and you can choose from 2 offers. You can get a $1,000 no sweat bet, or you can get a bet $5, get $150 in bonus bets. You can pick either one. It doesn't matter. Whichever one you want more. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Bet365 to sign up. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. We're also brought to you by Prize Picks. Make sure you lock in with Prize Picks community plays where you can, play alongside your favorite players like Meek Mill. He's got there. Andrew Schultz. He's got plays. Like, you can go do all of that stuff. You can hang out and play with these guys. You can have the reboot bonus where, look, if you have an injury in the first half and your player doesn't come back in the second half, like Devin Vassell did a couple weeks ago, where he had 17 points in the first half, but his prop was at 17.5 and he got injured at halftime and didn't come back. Well, guess what? Their reboot bonus will make sure that player that exits the game and did not return is rebooted. Injury insurance. Nobody else is doing that. Nobody at Daily Fantasy Sports is doing that. Prize Picks is doing it. Promo code SGPN for that 100% deposit batch up to $100 is Prize Picks. Promo code SGPN for that 100% deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks.com/SGPN code SGPN. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, Scott. Let's see here. We'll give out a PrizePicks lineup at the end for sure. But looky here, we have the Ravens and the Bengals. First touchdown. We hit last week. So what did we do last week? Was it me?
I think I went first last week.
All right, there you go.
I think. All right. So I'm going to give out 2 Ravens and 2 Bengals, even though I do think the Ravens win the game. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers at 14-1 as my first choice. He played 87% of the snaps last week. Of course, all of the running backs are going to be extremely low for price because of Baltimore and their tendency to run the ball a lot, so I didn't see much value there. Give me Flowers at 14-1, being a guy who's on the field a lot. I'll take him. I got into the Bengals receiver market. I got Trenton Irwin at 22-1. Simply put, he played 81% of the snaps last week with Higgins being out. I'm assuming Higgins is not going to play in this game. And he caught a touchdown. So he had a touchdown last week. He's at 22-1. That's good enough for me. I'll go with him. Then I got Ravens defense and special teams. I mentioned before that I'm not a fan of Cincinnati's offensive line, and I do think they might have some issues. We saw Burrow have a couple interceptions last week. Give me the Ravens defense and special teams, a very good unit at 25-1. And my last pick was a Bengals tight end. Give me Drew Sample at 43-1. The tight ends for Cincinnati are kind of interesting because they rotate 3 guys kind of evenly. But Sample did lead the Cincinnati tight ends in snap percentage last week. But 43-1 for a tight end who had the most snaps last week. I think it's a pretty good value play. Give me Drew Sample at 43 to 1.
All right. Let's see here.
I'm assuming we overlap on at least one of these.
I don't know yet.
Ravens defense? Really?
No, not really. I don't like going defense back-to-back weeks. It never hits. It feels like a waste of a play. All right. Give me Isaiah Likely, 40 to 1. We have taken
Georgia starting out swinging.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not taking Andrews at 8 to 1. There's no value in that. I like the backup tight end. He gets opportunities. You look at this Cincinnati Bengals team, and they struggle against tight ends over the course of the entire season. So I think this is a really good opportunity for one Isaiah Likely. Like, you got to get different in these slates, and I'll take the backup tight end there at 40 to 1. I will also play. This is hard because it's like everybody that
all your main guys are below your 10 to 1 threshold.
Yeah, and I'm not really interested. So give me Keaton Mitchell at 18 to 1. And let's say he gets in. For my Bengals, yeah, like nobody's in the threshold. I'll take Joe Burrow at 28 to 1. You always go auto. When you're ever in doubt of first touchdown bets, just defer back to the mobile quarterback. It's always really, really good play. 28 to 1 for Joe Burrow. I like that play. And for my last one, might go a little more conservative here. And give me Irv Smith at 20 to 1. I like the Irv Smith play. Yeah, there's nobody else I'm really interested in.
Cool.
I really feel good. I feel good about Likely, though. Likely was the
price for Cincinnati defense that struggles against tight ends.
Yeah. When's the last time we heard Isaiah Likely? And I remember Isaiah Likely hitting a first touchdown bet. I think it was against the Bucks. Was it that Likely hit it? He either hit first touchdown or last touchdown that game.
I'm trying to remember if Andrews played in that game or not. But
he didn't. He didn't
yeah.
play. Okay. And so that's why it was a big Likely game on Thursday night. Hopefully, even though Andrews is in this one, we get another big Likely game on Thursday night here again. All right. Before we get into our prop section and in with DFS, got to talk to you one more time about Hall of Fame Bets, because Hall of Fame Bets is the sports betting research platform for party parts, parlays, and game lines. Make sure that you just sit there and use their parlay optimizer tool. It's really, really cool. It gives you opportunity to break down your parlay based on hit rate, get expected probability, give you everything you need, green, anything you need to help you feel great about your parlay. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching Hall of Fame Bets. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. We're also sponsored by Game Time. Make sure that you go get those tickets, especially if you plan on making this game in Baltimore. Baltimore's not that far. What's the temperature? What's the temperature going to be this tomorrow? We might, or on Thursday, might can make a trip to Baltimore and go catch this game. This is going to be a good one. Well, I'm going to do that with Game Time app because they are the go-to app. No way that I'm going. But if you all like to go sit in sub 50-degree weather and watch football, absolutely make sure you use the Game Time app for those last-minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. Game Time, use promo code CFPX to get $20 off. And if you find tickets in the same row, same section for less, Game Time will credit you 110% difference. Make sure you do that. Lower fees, better prices, Game Time guarantee, made for mobile. Game Time app. Promo code CFPX for $20 off your first purchase. Make sure you download the Game Time app or visit gametime.co. All right. Keep the mojo with you. What's your first prop?
All right. So for my first prop, last week I did end up going to a quarterback rushing prop. I had the over on Bryce Young. I ended up getting there. For this one, I'm going to actually go with the under for rushing yards on a quarterback. I'm going to go with Joe Burrow, under 12.5 rushing yards at minus 115. He's had less than 8 rushing yards in 7 of his last 9 games. And against Baltimore, he really has not done a great job of running, and Baltimore's done a good job of keeping him in the pocket, as Burrow's had less than 12 rushing yards in each of his last 6 meetings against the Ravens. But simply put, I see a lot of quick passes from Burrow. They might get Mixon involved. I know you could argue about a scramble. Maybe that's going to happen. But once again, he's gone under in his last 6 games against the Ravens. I think that this line's too high. Give me Burrow under 12.5 rushing yards.
All right. Not bad. I'm bad. It was a different look. I wasn't expecting that. I went a little more chalk to kick things off. Mark Andrews over 54.5 receiving yards. I just talked to you about this Bengals team against the tight end position. I took Isaiah Likely for first touchdown because Mark Andrews is too cheap. However, I still think Mark Andrews has a huge day. This is how he gets his work. He goes middle of the field, keeps the chains going, keeps the drives going. He's a PPR receiver. He's going to get a bunch of targets. He's going to get a bunch of yards. And again, this Cincinnati Bengals team, you look at what they're doing against tight ends. They are the 4th worst in terms of total yards allowed to tight ends in the entire NFL. Only the Falcons, Chargers, and Broncos are worst. I'm taking Mark Andrews. This is very, very easy play. I'm actually going to ladder Andrews.
All right. For my second prop, I'm going to go back to the quarterbacks here. It's kind of against your play, but not totally. I'm going to take Lamar under 225.5 passing yards at minus 115. Number just seems too high to me. He's at a less than 224 in 4 of his last 5 games. He's at a less than 224 in 7 of his last 10 games. And the Bengals are really bad against the run. They're allowing the 3rd most rushing yards per game. I see a simple plan of attack for Baltimore. Run the damn ball. And because of that, I don't see Lamar getting enough pass attempts and enough volume to go over this number. But whether it's going to involve Edwards, Mitchell, even a little bit of Hill, maybe Lamar in his own right, I just see a lot of options for Baltimore to run the ball against a pretty bad front. A reminder that Devin Singletary, who did basically nothing all year, had 100 yards last week against the Bengals on the ground. I think that the Bengals' run defense is abysmal, and I think Baltimore might pivot away from the passing game. Give me Lamar under 225.5.
All right. And I'm with the same angle as you, but I took the rushing yards over rushing 44.5 for Lamar Jackson because if he doesn't get it through the air, I think he's going to get it through the ground, and that's how you're going to attack the Cincinnati Bengals team. And I think that, what's been consistent is Lamar Jackson is going to get his opportunities, his chances to run the ball, his chances to make big plays for this offense. I think he can break one and really get this in a couple of rushes here and just keep that Cincinnati defense on their toes while they try to open things up in the passing game, whether it is effective or whether it's not effective. I think that this is typical Thursday night Ravens football where you put the ball in Lamar's hands and he goes out there and makes plays with his legs. So I'm all over Lamar Jackson. This is another play that I'm considering laddering here where Lamar Jackson over 44.5 rushing yards.
Yep, I like it too. But once again, I just think that with the ground game being in full effect, I think the passing game takes a step back. So, yep, kind of correlated between 2 of us on the same player. And the last one's going to be correlated to my second play, but it involves a receiver that I really don't think is that good. He's played some snaps recently, a decent amount, but he has not been that productive. Give me Rashad Bateman. I'm going to take him under 2.5 receptions at minus 135. He's had less than 3 catches in 6 of his last 7 games. We've seen Flowers take a step forward. We saw Odell have a touchdown last week. I just think Bateman, with the lack of passing attempts, based on how good the ground game should be, Bateman really hasn't done anything this year, and I think that 2.5 might seem like a low number, but it's really not because, once again, he's gone under in 6 of 7. Give me the under in what should be a run-first game plan for the Ravens. I'll fade Bateman.
And to close things out, give me Joe Burrow. Over half an interception.
Okay. That was one of my runner-up plays.
I don't think something's wrong, Scott.
They can't block anybody.
Something isn't right there. And I'm telling you, it's so many ways we get this interception. Whether it's somebody misses a block, whether receiver tips the drill, whether it's Joe Burrow just forcing the ball as he's done in the past. Like this
might be
on the road.
Like catch up.
Yeah, trailing, trying to play catch up. Like this feels like the spot. And if you look at every time Joe Burrow has thrown an interception before this game, well, no, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm trying to say. This season, Joe Burrow has had 2 different sets of back-to-back interception games. He had it earlier. What's this week? what's that, week 3, week 4. He had it in week 4, week 5, and then he just had 2 interceptions last week against Texans. So if he goes by the trend, he's going to make a mistake this week. I don't know how good or bad that goes, but I'm fading Joe Burrow here in a spot where I think that he's going to struggle. Like, I think this Ravens defense is going to get home. I think that secondary is still live. So I'm all over Joe Burrow to throw a pick here.
Are you surprised I didn't do a kicker prop?
No, because both of these kickers are actually pretty well known at this point in their careers. So
Yeah, pretty much.
if it was an obscure kicker, if it was Dario Gumuale, that I would have thought you might have took him.
You know, Tucker's actually not been that great for like props this year. They don't kick many field goals.
I know, it's crazy. Future Hall of Famer. All right.
Yeah.
DFS.
All right. A reminder, I'm using one platform. He's using another. So keep in mind, he has one extra player than I do. For my lineup, I'm going to warn you right now, I did take both quarterbacks, but I have a very, very weird order, which should make this lineup pretty unique. My captain spot. You want to guess who it is?
The defense.
It is Keaton Mitchell in my captain spot.
Wow.
I know I didn't give him out for first touchdown. I thought 18-1 was maybe a little bit low. I was hoping for something higher since he only had 24% of the snaps last week. How the hell did he only have 24% of the snaps? The guy had a 30-something yard touchdown run in the first quarter, basically. And you gave him 2 more carries the rest of the game? Give him the damn ball. Like, he's a really good player. I think he's in line for a massive stat line. No offense to Gus Edwards. I know that he's a good goal line back. But damn, man, Mitchell's fast as hell. You got to give him the rock. Like, he's really good. So I got Mitchell. I think he's in line. Even if he gets like 7-8 carries, maybe he has an HN line where he goes like 7 carries for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. Could happen. But I think that Mitchell's a good low ownership option in the captain spot. So give me Mitchell as my captain. Give me Ravens defense. You mentioned Burrow interception. I mentioned that Burrow also got sacked 3 times by a D tackle last week. There's questions about the Cincinnati offensive line, and Higgins is injured, so that's going to be a problem too. Give me the Ravens defense to bounce back at home. Now, I also took Lamar, and I took Burrow. You know, I got to include them in some aspect. But with Burrow, I went for a stack, and I did go with Trent and Irwin. I think everyone's going to have Chase, but with Higgins not being there, I'll take the guy that had a touchdown catch last week, the new number 2 or 3 receiver, because Boyd always plays in the slot. So Irwin's basically the new 2. I'll take him at a salary of $7,500 for, once again, a guy who had a touchdown last week. With Higgins not playing, you should probably take a shot with a low budget wide receiver in that depth chart. Give me Irwin at $7,500. So once again, my lineup is Mitchell in the captain spot, Ravens defense, Irwin, Jackson, and Burrow is my other 4.
All right, let's see here. I went chalk for my captain. I'm not gonna lie, I went chalk. Give me Andrews.
Lamar because he runs.
Andrews.
Oh, okay.
He's got the 4th best tight end matchup in the league, and he's a top 3 tight end. It's pretty obvious here. Even though I do like Likely, I think that this is this is the Mark Andrews. I'm just gonna destroy the Bengals game. So Mark Andrews in the captain. And then same thing as you, followed up Ravens defense, threw them in there, and let's see, Ravens defense. Yeah, I really, if this is a blowout on the Ravens side, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. However, I did play Jamar Chase, because ultimately Jamar Chase just continues to get the work, and he's a really good wide receiver, and I'm just going to bank on him getting open. Like, Burrow can have a crappy day, and Chase can still have a really good day. So I took Chase. I didn't take Burrow. I did take Lamar Jackson still, and I think he could still get done on the ground, probably get a touchdown, something like that. So I took Lamar Jackson still. I did roll with Keaton Mitchell. I had him for first touchdown. I think he can get into the end zone. And maybe this is like a blowout, and Mitchell gets some work at the end of the game. That's fantasy points that we need. If we're right about this and this game gets ugly for the Bengals, we're going to need some fantasy points on the back end if you want to win this millie. So give me Keaton Mitchell. And I did the same thought process as that with my other first touchdown scorer, but I needed one more Bengal to kind of balance things out. Give me the Irv Smith Jr. He gets into the end zone and makes this a good week.
Cool.
All right. Lock. Anytime touchdown. Prize Picks contest. Let's see. For my lock, I'm not even questioning. Just give me Ravens -3.5. I really think the Ravens are going to destroy the Bengals here. Like, I don't think this is going to be a close game. I think the Bengals bought themselves some hype coming and building up. But now they hit a buzzsaw. In this team. I think this Ravens defense is going to have a get-right game. I think that they'll be able to get it done on the ground against that terrible Bengals run game. And Mark Andrews is going to be player of the game. 100% all the way down with the Ravens here. -3.5 for my anytime touchdown score. This was a little more difficult because, I'm not giving out no baby dogs around here. So everybody is like a baby dog. Andrews is tempting at +150. Just give me Keaton Mitchell at +330. 333 on Bet365, actually. One, because I like seeing the 333 there. But also,
we really have the same picks every damn Thursday night episode. Okay.
Which is crazy.
Cool.
But again, I think this could be a blowout. And if it's a blowout and you're telling me that Keaton Mitchell has an opportunity to, be at the end of the game in a blowout game and get carries, he's going to break one. He's really good, man. Yeah, Keaton Mitchell +333 for anytime touchdown. Scott, we already know your anytime touchdown scorer. Did you take the Ravens too?
I was initially going to, but I'll pivot slightly. I'll take Ravens first half. I still see a 2.5 there, but in reality, Baltimore still has an issue closing out games, which has plagued Lamar and Harbaugh for several years at this point. But if I do think Baltimore's going to dominate, and I do think they're going to be extra motivated after getting that really bad finish against the Browns, I can see a pretty realistic spot where the Ravens just get all their anger out in the first 30 minutes. Bengals have to reinvent themselves kind of, because with Higgins being out and with the lackluster offensive line and the injuries to the defensive line, this rushing attack should dominate in the early stages of this game, especially if Hubbard and if Hendrickson are out. So I see Baltimore opening up a big lead early, and I think that's going to be the main reason why I'm picking them to cover the full game. But since that's the case, I do think they'll also be leading at the end of the first half, and you can still find a 2.5 available at about -115. So I will pivot. I see a -110 actually. Give me the Ravens first half -2.5 as my lock. Anytime touchdown, it's got to be Mitchell. 333 is too good of a price for a guy who's that dynamic offensively, who should get more run moving forward. So I'll go with Mitchell with you at 333.
Whew. I hope that didn't jinx it. All right.
Well, that's why I picked a different play, kind of.
Let's go with Prize Picks. Make sure you tap in the Prize Picks. Use that promo code SGPN. Hey, man, they got a taco play for, the one person that's catching us live. They got Andrews. They moved it from 54.5 to 41.5 receiving yards. Make sure you use that play.
We're not going to use that for this lineup, but of course you should use that anyway.
Well, I mean, can we not still pick Andrews?
We can. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
Line,
yeah.
They just not going to reduce to $25. If you
They just didn't get the We're not. Yeah, but we're still.
We can use the default one.
54.5 Andrews. That's got to be in there.
The Mitchell rushing there? Probably not.
No, don't see it.
What's Lamar passing yards? Because I do like the under on that.
If we
think Baltimore kills them, he might get benched in the fourth quarter.
True. 222.5.
Okay, so they're cutting me off
more.
Of 3 yards. I like the less, but I'm losing 3 yards there. All right, so you want to do
less. Whenever we lose yardage or points or anything, it always still works for us.
Yeah, so we'll go Lamar under for passing yards.
Less.
And you want to throw in Burrow interception?
Well, yeah, we got Lamar less for passing yards, and let's see if they have Burrow for an interception up here. That feels good. Let's see. We do. So, just to recap what we have here, 3 plays in our Prize Picks contest. We have Joe Burrow more than half an interception, Lamar Jackson less 22.5 passing yards, and Mark Andrews. Yeah, 222.5 passing yards less, and Mark Andrews more 54.5 receiving yards. You go and you take those 3 and put that into Prize Picks, and that's gonna pop out with a look at this. I mean, oh wait, there we go. Look at this. I mean, you can turn $20 into $100. You can turn $100 into $500. You can turn $1,000 into $5,000 at Prize Picks. Make sure you use that. Whoa, they just tried to sit here. I almost put that entry in.
By the way, a
For
reminder, if you're
$1,000.
betting 20 to $25, you can take that Andrews taco play at 41 instead.
Yes, you can. Make sure you and do that. But if you don't see it, it's cool. We like the 54 as well. So make sure you do that. Pays 5 times the money you put in. Prize Picks code SGPN. All right, Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No. Well, hopefully the Ravens cover for us, and we'll see you next. We'll see you for the afternoon game show in about 2 days.
All right, he's at Right Shot Radio back really well underscore for
we're doing the basketball show tomorrow, so stay tuned for that too.
Yep. Catch us on the NBA Gambling Podcast. Catch us here on the NFL Gambling Podcast. He's tennis. I do college sports. We do a lot of things over here. So make sure you tap in with us. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. Nothing else. Do no other way of ending the podcast. Just going to end it like this. We are out of here.